Last week on the podcast, I shared with you an experiment that I was doing in regards to tracking the time I'm spending throughout the day on everything from home tasks to work tasks. Now, if you haven't listened to that episode, I do recommend you go back so you have a frame of reference on what I'm talking about and also the book that I'm reading, and it is called It's About Time by Valerie Burton. And if you haven't listened to the audiobook or read the book yet, you can grab a free copy of the Audible book and a 30-day free trial over on today's show notes at yongpratt.com/271. It's interesting, the revelations that I discovered by tracking my time for the day, for each day, and then for the week. It was literally mind-boggling. Some of the things that I thought I was most efficient on, I wasn't being as efficient as I could have been, and I was wasting a lot of time doing lots of nothing, right? Or not nothing, but I was busy but not being productive, right? Have you ever experienced that where you reach the end of the day and you feel like you've been hustling all day and you've been busy, and you look back over the day and think, I spent the day putting out fires. I spent the day doing things that don't really add to the bottom line, right? I know I have days like that too, where it just feels like I must have gotten a lot of stuff done, but really it's a lot of busy work that I don't need to be doing. So now that you have the data from your own experiment, the next step is to track your time and put it into blocks. Welcome to episode number 271 of the Amplify Your Awesome podcast. Today we're going to talk about time blocking, and I get a lot of resistance from clients on this idea alone. And I know when I first learned it, I also was very, very hesitant because I felt like if I assigned a certain block of time to one activity and then another block of time to another activity, that it was going to be really rigid. It was going to really stifle my creativity, and it was just going to feel icky. You know, being a creative, I really value the time to just create what I want to. When the inspiration hits, I want to do the thing now. What I've discovered, though, being on the other side of this now and knowing the difference it's made in my own life and seeing my clients have incremental changes in what they're getting done in the week by doing this, it's definitely made me a believer in this. So I'm going to challenge you this week to do this. Take your time tracking sheets from your daily and your weekly and look at everything. Then I want you to go through your day and figure out, when you're going to work. Are you going to work in the morning before the kids get up? Are you going to work when the kids are at school? Are you going to work after the kids go to bed? Figure out when in that day you want to do your work, and then figure out the household things like the preparing for meals, the self-care. Like, I want you to block all these things. You don't have to be to the minute, but we're going to try to see if we can do things in chunks of time. For example, what if you decide every Monday you're going to schedule out all your social media posts so that the whole rest of the week you don't really have to go in and think about and stress about what you're going to post each day, but you can actually go in there and be social on social media. I know, quite a concept, right? What if you did that on Monday? You spent 2 hours doing just that, and maybe you have enough content to where you can go in one Monday a month and schedule for the whole month. Wouldn't that be awesome? And a couple episodes ago, we talked about content CPR and pulling things out of your archives, the things you may have forgotten about, breathing new life into them and resurrecting them, right? And resharing them, publishing them, publicizing them, and really repurposing them in unique ways, right? If you've done that exercise already, you're going to have a lot of content. Because you can slice and dice one piece of content into, 20 or 30, depending on how creative you are and what kind of tools you're using to make that happen, right? It doesn't take a lot to create content. It might take a little bit more thinking to figure out ways to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, right? But I'm telling you right now, you have plenty of content up here or locked in your vault that you've already created that you can reuse and recycle. And this idea is called repurposing. We're going to repurpose the content you already have. Okay, so yeah, what if you decided you were even going to take 3 hours on Monday and schedule all those things out for the whole month? How much time would that free up? What if you decide you're going to go grocery shopping 1 day a week and then prep all of the meals and all the things you need for the meals for the week on Sunday? What if you could block that time together? What if you decide twice a week the laundry needs to get done, so you're going to time block it so you can go from start to finish. You can start a load, finish a load, put it away, get it all done. Are you kind of seeing the picture here? That we want to take like activities, chunk them together and pop them on the calendar. And then above and beyond that, that's the easy part, chunking them down. The hard part is sticking to the blocks that you have created. When we put these activities onto our calendar, we need to observe them and respect them like any other appointment we would have for ourselves. If you have a doctor appointment, you put it on your calendar and you actually go to the doctor at that time. The same thing needs to be true about your time blocks. If you know you have time blocks on a Monday to do your content and another opportunity pops up, we want to make sure that we are respectful of our schedules and say yes to the things we really need to say yes to and no to the majority. Because if you say, oh, I have an appointment at 9, from 9 to noon on Monday, and you tell someone else this because they want you to come volunteer in the classroom, or they want you to do something else out in the community, and you just say to them, I have an appointment at that time. They don't need to know the appointment is with yourself, right? But if we're not respecting our own time, how on earth is anyone that works with us or that we connect with out in the communities or online, how are they going to respect our time if we don't respect it ourselves, right? So that's a really important key piece, that we have to actually show up for these appointments with ourselves. Now, there are things like self-care that happen every day. And of course, you can block some of these things together as well. Things like exercising. Is it on your calendar? Because I know that if I don't go for a walk every day and be in the sunshine and be out in the hills, I tend to get a little bit grumpy. So I need to prioritize that more. Because if I don't, everyone around me feels the brunt of that, right? Because the stress kind of builds up, the anxiety builds up, and I'm almost resentful that I'm not going for a walk and spending time with my family, which then makes me feel worse, right? I don't want to have those feelings. So this week is all about looking at your activities and then going through and blocking times each day that things that are important are getting done. You know, getting up with your kids and helping them have breakfast and pack their lunch and get off to school. If that's a priority, block that on your calendar and make it non-negotiable. If you know you want to get more sleep, you know, you can time block, but anything past 8 o'clock, maybe you turn off all devices, you stop watching TV, and you just read an old-fashioned book. There's lots of things we can do on our schedule that we just sometimes don't do because they're not as convenient or not as fun as some other things. But things like sleep and things like self-care and things like exercise, if we're not prioritizing ourselves, it's really hard to show up fully for those people around us. Am I right? I cannot be the only person who, if I don't go for a walk, you get a little grumpy. Decide what it is from your experiment that you need to block on your schedule, because if you can stack like activities together into a time block rather than doing a little bit every day, you're actually going to be more productive because you know when things are getting done. So there's that peace, knowing it's going to get done, rather than the stress of thinking, oh, I've got to get to the laundry. It's piling up. It's overflowing. I can barely get into my office because it's piling up in front of my door. I need to take care of it. If instead I decided on my schedule what block of time, what days of the week, what hours of the day certain things are going to happen, I can be much more efficient. And I don't have to let all those things start to pile up and stress me out or cause me anxiety or wake me up in the night, right? We don't want that. We want to be able to go to bed peacefully, knowing we showed up, we were present, and we rocked it that day, right? You want to be productive. You want to feel productive. You want to know that you've helped and served your family and the people around you, the people in your communities and the people who are in your classes or programs or who get your products, right? It's all about saying yes to us, prioritizing ourselves, because we need to be the best version of ourselves to do all the things. All right, my friends, after you listen to this episode, come on over to Instagram at Amplify Your Awesome. Let me know how this idea of time blocking is working for you. Is it a yay? Is it a nay? Because like everything on this podcast, I want you to take the bits that resonate with you, the bits that help you go to that next step. Experiment with these ideas that I'm sharing with you. Put them to practice. See how they work. Build a new habit. And I want to know how it's going for you. Amplify Your Awesome over at Instagram. And if you need to get a copy or would like a copy of the Audible version of It's About Time by Valerie Burton, if you're a new Audible user, you can get this book for free along with a 30-day free trial to Audible over on today's show notes, yongpratt.com/271. Okay, my friends, go out there today and be time ninjas. Cheers.